It's the Gear Tester here, and welcome to my review on the Mechanix CG Heavy Duty Glove. I had my first experience with Mechanix gloves about 12 years ago and really liked them, and those were the original Mechanix gloves that are a fake leather, and they are great gloves. They give you a lot of dexterity, and this is how you spell Mechanix there if you're just wondering. And of course they were originally used by Mechanix, giving them a lot of dexterity but protecting their hands as they worked on cars and around sharp pieces of metal and sharp tools. And I really liked those original gloves. I found though that I wore the gloves out very quickly as I used them for yard work and as I used them around the house. Now those original Mechanix gloves are great for doing all kinds of fine tasks and having really nice fine motor movement because they're very thin. But I was looking for a glove from Mechanix, the company, that would hold up to a little more abuse as I used it in one of a couple of the jobs that I do, which is landscaping. And so I've had these gloves for over a year and a half and have really enjoyed them. And these are the Mechanix CG Heavy Duty Glove. And the thing that I really appreciate about them is that they have a full leather palm. This is real leather. It's kind of a suede on the inside. You can see that there. And it's held up really well. I've been very impressed. The tips of the fingers have not worn out like they always did for me on the original Mechanix gloves, and the inside of the fingers and the palm have not worn away. And I've used the original Mechanix gloves a lot. I actually threw those away, and I've really just been using these. So I really appreciate the fact that these have a full leather palm in them. The leather comes up and over the tips of the index finger here, and comes up over the tips of your fingers, but then it becomes this fabric here, and I actually like that. That allows for a little more breathability. This is a glove that I could use, and I have used in over 100-degree weather working, and that I could use in cooler weather, and these gloves will keep my hands warm. But they do have a high level of breathability, and I really appreciate this leather palm and the tips of the fingers and here the thumb area. The other thing that these gloves incorporates is some impact protection. That's what Mechanix gloves calls it. You can see these are just they're actually quite flexible the way they've made these gloves, and so it doesn't impede your movement. It allows you to still move, but it definitely does provide a little bit of protection. I haven't noticed that I've needed it on the back of my hand, but maybe I haven't noticed it because I haven't been whacking my hand because it's been there. But it gives you a little bit of protection here along your thumb, and then along your fingers here, and then a little bit there on your pinky, and gives you kind of a increased amount of protection around your wrist. So I'll put this one glove on here. Another reason I really like the Mechanix gloves is that they fit me well. The way the glove is cut, I tend to have extra space in most gloves on my thumb, but that's not the case with these Mechanix gloves. My thumb is right there at the end. The rest of my fingers are there. I like the way they kind of attach the leather here to the fabric. It really retains, the glove is tight on your hand, and at the same time allows for a lot of movement. The way as you bend your finger, the way they sewed that fabric in is actually really nice. I appreciate that. Mechanix has recently come out with a new model of the CG Heavy Duty Glove. They've made some slight modifications, and I'll show you that here in just a second. I will show you one of the things on my right hand. I am right-handed, and I do a lot of work with power tools. So whether that's edgers, so industrial grade edgers, that's what cuts away grass from concrete. It's kind of like a mower blade, and it's up and down, and it runs right along the edge of the concrete, and there's a lot of vibrations. And one of the things that I've appreciated is these heavy duty gloves, the CG Heavy Duty Glove, does incorporate some padding in the palm. Very little. It's almost like tiny quilting. So you've got some padding here and some padding there. And you can see the stitching there. It's very minimal, but what that does is it really dampens the vibration on something like a string trimmer, on something like industrial grade edger, those kinds of things. You know, maybe if you're riding a motorcycle, like a four-wheeler or something like that, this is going to give you just a little bit of protection there. And not only do you have the leather palm, but it's got some of that quilting in there, and it's very minimal. It doesn't take away from my feeling, and it's not in the tips of the fingers, but I do appreciate that. I've actually liked that. You can see here the additional material that they put on the tips of the fingers hasn't worn off. The thumb hasn't worn off this area here on me, or the tips of either one of my index fingers, but my middle finger, it has worn off on my right hand. And that's because a lot of the power tools have a trigger, whether that's a blower or a string trimmer or different things, and I'm holding down on that and it's vibrating there and it's rubbing right through. That's the only thing that I can think of that's done that. The leather below that has held up really well and isn't having any problems, but this kind of fake leather that's attached on top of the real full leather palm has worn away. And that's the kind of thing that I saw within about 4 or 5 weeks of heavy use of the standard Mechanix glove, of the original. That would be my finger. You'd be seeing my skin. And that's why I appreciate these CG heavy-duty Mechanix gloves. I've logged on to the Mechanix Wear website, and you're looking at the CG heavy-duty glove as they are currently producing it. You can see there they're going to charging from their website $41.99. You can see the glove here, and you'll notice that these plastic or soft rubber protection here is more robust. It comes down and it's larger here on the thumb and the index finger. It doesn't appear that it has any that I can see from the photos on the pinky, and that may or may not bother you, but this is the way the Mechanix glove is currently being produced, this CG heavy duty there. Scan down here, you can see this impact protection there. It appears that they've kept the same basic idea, they just don't have that little floating piece as they previously did on the what I'm going to call the original heavy-duty glove. They're still keeping this full leather palm, and right here you can see they're still keeping the portion here coming down on the thumb. That's still full leather, and all the tips of the fingers are still full leather. If you look right here, I'll see if I can click on this, bring it up. You'll also notice that they have extended that additional material, the non-leather portion, onto the third finger here rather than just the index and middle finger. So that's kind of cool. They seem to have kept this just minimal kind of padding. Looks very light. Again, I like this padding. I didn't think I would like it originally, but I really like just that little bit of quilting, just that tiny little bit of padding has really, in my personal view, made the glove better. I would have never thought that I would have liked that originally, but I actually have. You've got lots of different sizes. You probably may want to try a size on. Mechanix glove sizing seems to stay pretty similar from different kinds of gloves. They seem to be using the same model, so if you liked the CG heavy in a medium, you'd probably like their other gloves in a medium. Mechanix has a lot of different gloves, a lot of different equipment to check out. I like all their products. Here is the glove that I'm reviewing here, this older Mechanix CG heavy-duty glove. You know, when you go to do a review and you use something for a year and a half, sometimes the producer and their offering changes. So that's the case with this this review here. This is the glove that I have. You can see there you got a little less invasive material there on the thumb and index finger. They still kind of incorporating this. You can see there that's that little floating piece there on the pinky. You can see right there. So that's the reality of this glove. You can probably still find the glove that I'm reviewing particularly. It's going to be the same basic model and fit, I think, and I think you'll be happy whether you get this older version of the Mechanix CG heavy-duty glove or you get this newer model that's currently up on their website. I think these are both great gloves. I think probably this newer version has just incorporated a little extra and maybe is a little more rugged and durable. I'm still looking at the Mechanix Wear website, and I'm looking at this group of gloves right here. that kind of seem to be based on the CG heavy duty glove. What's cool here, this is the glove that I'm looking at in this review, in this video, but this is the women's version, which is new, that they're producing now, the women's CG heavy duty glove, probably cut to fit a woman's hand better. You got the CG Impact Pro, which appears to me to give more protection on the top of the hand and maybe more protection on the palm. And then what interests me is the CG full leather. I like the full leather. I like the way Mechanix wear is executing full leather, still keeping it very thin and supple, and yet retaining enough strength that it protects your hand but gives you a level of dexterity that I don't see in other gloves. So this is going to be the same thing as the CG heavy duty glove that I'm looking at in this review, but it appears that the top of the glove is going to be all leather, and it's going to incorporate a little more protection of this impact protection on the tips of your fingers. Other than that, it appears to me to have the same exact palm as the CG heavy duty, but this is the CG full leather, as you can see there, and I really like that. So that might be a competitive option if you're wanting the top of your glove in leather. Maybe you're going to be working around hot items, whether that would be metal or other items that could burn through the polymer top, maybe sparks or something like that. And because the glove is full leather here on the top of it, even with some of this polymer impact protection, that's not going to allow sparks or something might burn through that. But I think the leather is going to provide some fire protection, some heat protection, and so maybe the full leather, the CG full leather, might be a competitive option for you as you think about these Mechanix gloves, the CG heavy duty. I would definitely recommend the Mechanix CG heavy duty glove. I think it is a high quality item, even at the price around $40 that I think you're going to end up paying for it. This is definitely a glove that I would recommend to you. It is a quality product. I've had it for over 1.5 years and have been very happy with these gloves. I really like the full leather palms and that little bit of padding or quilting that they put in there to give you a little vibration and impact resistance there, kind of to pad your hands from that. I really like the impact protection on the top of the hands. Doesn't get in the way, and I don't think it weighs the glove down very much. You still have a full range of motion, and if you ever needed it, it's there. I would definitely recommend the Mechanix CG heavy duty glove to you. It is a quality product that will help protect your hands, whether you are doing yard work or whether you are on the range shooting, or whether you're just needing some gloves to protect your hands as you're riding your quads through the forest. Thank you very much for your views and your subscriptions. My goal here at the TheGearTester YouTube channel is to produce quality video reviews on shooting, camping, and survival gear. This is the TheGearTester signing off.